him, and beware of letting him see thy face or hear thy voice." "Hearkening and obedience," said the girl, and he left her and fared forth. Some days after this it happened by decree of destiny that the damsel repaired to the baths in the house, where some of the slave women bathed her; after which she arrayed herself in sumptuous raiment, and her beauty and loveliness were thereby redoubled. Then she went in to the Wazir's wife and kissed her hand, and the dame said to her, "Naiman, may it benefit thee, O Anis al Jalis! Are not our baths handsome?" "O my mistress," she replied, "I lack naught there save thy gracious presence." Thereupon the lady said to her slave women, "Come with us to the Hammam, for it is some days since we went there." They answered, "To hear is to obey," and rose and all accompanied her. Now she had set two little slave girls to keep the door of the private chamber wherein was Anis al Jalis, and had said to them, "Suffer none to go in to the damsel." Presently, as the beautiful maiden sat resting in her rooms, suddenly came in the Wazir's son, whose name was Nur al Din Ali, and asked after his mother and her women, to which the two little slave girls replied, "They are in the Hammam." But the damsel Anis al Jalis had heard from within Nur al Din Ali's voice, and had said to herself, "O would Heaven I saw what like is this youth against whom the Wazir warned me, saying that he hath not left a virgin in the neighbourhood without taking her virginity. By Allah, I do long to have sight of him." So she sprang to her feet with the freshness of the bath on her and, stepping to the door, looked at Nur al Din Ali and saw a youth like the moon in its full, and the sight bequeathed her 1,000 sighs. The young man also glanced at her, and the look made him heir to 1,000 thoughts of care, and each fell into love's ready snare. Then he stepped up to the two little slave girls and cried aloud at them, whereupon both fled before him and stood afar off to see what he would do. And behold, he walked to the door of the damsel's chamber and, opening it, went in and asked her, "Art thou she my father bought for me?" And she answered, "Yes." Thereupon the youth, who was warm with wine, came up to her and embraced her. Then he took her legs and passed them round his waist, and she wound her arms about his neck and met him with kisses and murmurs of pleasure and amorous toyings. Next he sucked her tongue and she sucked his, and lastly he loosed the strings of her petticoat trousers and abated her maidenhead. When the two little slave girls saw their young master get in unto the damsel Anis al Jalis, they cried out and shrieked. So as soon as the youth had had his wicked will of her, he rose and fled forth fearing the consequences of his ill doing. When the Wazir's wife heard the slave girls' cries, she sprang up and came out of the baths with the perspiration pouring from her face, saying, "What is this unseemly clamour in the house?" Then she came up to the two little slave girls and asked them, saying, "Fie upon you, what is the matter?" And both answered, "Verily our lord Nur al Din came in and beat us, so we fled. Then he went up to Anis al Jalis and threw his arms round her, and we know not what he did after that; but when we cried out to thee he ran away." Upon this the lady went to Anis al Jalis and said to her, "What tidings?" "O my lady," she answered, "as I was sitting here, lo! a handsome young man came in and said to me, 'Art thou she my father bought for me?' And I answered, 'Yes;' for, by Allah, O mistress mine, I believed that his words were true, and he instantly came in and embraced me." "Did he naught else with thee but this?" quoth the lady, and quoth she, "Indeed he did, but he did it only 3 times." "He did not leave thee without dishonouring thee," cried the Wazir's wife, and fell to weeping and buffeting her face. She and the girl and all the handmaidens fearing lest Nur al Din's father should kill him. Whilst they were thus, in came the Wazir and asked what was the matter, and his wife said to him, "Swear that whatso I tell thee thou wilt attend to it." "I will," answered he. So she related to him what his son had done, whereat he was much concerned and rent his raiment and smote his face till his nose bled and plucked out his beard by the handful. "Do not kill thyself," said his wife. "I will give thee 10,000 dinars, her price of my own money." But he raised his head and cried, "Out upon thee! I have no need of her purchase money: my fear is lest life as well as money go." "O my lord, and how is that? Wottest thou not that yonder standeth our enemy Al Mu'ín bin Sáwí, who, as soon as he shall hear of this matter, will go up to the Sultan?"—And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of the day and ceased saying her permitted say. End of Project Gutenberg's The Book of a Thousand Nights and a Night, Volume 2.